Hi everyone, this is Terence. So today we are going to talk about Hudson Place Residence. And the biggest questions that we have been asked is, this one, no MRT, can buy. And the recent launches, we have Pinery, Tengah, Vela Base, all thousands of checks, overwhelming interests. This still can buy. So today we are going to take a deep dive to this development to understand what are the things that you can consider and what are the pitfalls that you should seriously be avoiding. So without further ado, welcome to another project analysis series. Today is all about Hudson Place Residence. So as usual, the content revolves around the concerns of our friends. So touch on a little bit of this. So usually before we do anything, thank you first and foremost for those of you who are submitting your questions to us, DMing us. So I think we really appreciate that. Then of course we have the project analysis, and then of course sometimes we do the recommendations and all. I think for today we will really just quickly run through the floor plans, because I think these are the informations that you can get online. It's gonna be readily available, right? Of course, if you really want a detailed analysis, you can come to us, okay? Come to me, in fact, and then we can sit down and then discuss about it. Okay, but what we really want to touch on is the things that you really cannot find online, the intangible stuff, right? So of course, a disclaimer, all this is just based on our research. Please do your own due diligence before buying your kit, or if you have an agent, check with them. If you don't have, you know who to call. So the project brief, you must know. We are not going to touch on, okay, if this is your first time just joining us, we will not really be touching on everything like where's the facing and everything, just bits and pieces. Basically what you need to know to follow us through our analysis. Okay, so where are we? This is the one-off area. Hudson Place is here. So as you can see, there isn't any nearby MRT within walking distance. So this is one of the biggest challenge that a lot of friends have actually come to us. Then still can buy. Then what should I be buying? Okay, what unit type should I be considering? Okay, so we will really explore that in a while. So here's the fact sheet. Okay, so there's 2 blocks, 327 units, and the biggest challenge, I think, okay, one of the challenges, not the biggest one. There is only there's only a few number of parking lots. It's only 134 parking lots for about 337 units. So is this enough? So when we were looking at this, truth be told, we really had that concern. But on the other side, I think we really dive deep down to really think through why developer can cater for more parking lots. Why didn't they? Probably I think there's a few answers that came to that. So number one is maybe because of the cost. They can build another, let's say if it's not enough, they can build a ground level parking, or they can even spend a little bit more to go and for another basement and all. Okay, so but then my take is, before really ruling out this 134 parking lots, do you think they would have actually done a lot of research on their own? Yeah, because here we are doing our own research. I'm sure there are tons and tons of YouTube reviews out there, right? But the truth is, and the honest truth is, who has done the most extensive research? Who has the highest stake in this development? The answer is very clear. It's none other than the developer. So with that, I'm very certain. Okay, so what we basically concluded from this, from our understanding, our personal stuff, I think they're very serious, because I think probably the 3 and 4 bedders, they will be requiring this. But the smaller 2 bedrooms, which is quite a handful, I think they're very confident that actually it will be rented. The tenants should be coming from surrounding offices, no offices nearby, things like that. So this is actually what I think is actually at the back of the strategy. All right. So let's moving on quickly. The key concerns, number one is actually no MRT. Is there a problem? We will really understand that. The other thing is, with everything that is selling out today, we starting since I don't know how many years ago. How many projects ago, I beg your pardon? Bloomsbury, the next door project, also by Qingjian, the same developer, they still have balance units. So we really want to explore into this to understand deeper what attributes or what are the reasons behind this. And then of course, what we have been really doing very good since the beginning of the year. Thank you for the awesome feedback. Where are the units that you should consider? So I think this forms part of our strategy. Right. So of course the site plan, the media circle, nearby between the media circle and the ports now, it's a decent development, small size too. Of course, if you compare to the likes of Tengah Gardens, it's small. Tengah Gardens is about 863 units to be exact. This is only about 320, 50% of that. But the location here is totally different. And then of course we have 2 blocks, block 18, and then this is block 20. So we have from 2, they don't have any 1 bedrooms here, 2 to the 4 bedrooms. Right, and then I think we have a couple of penthouses. That's all for this. Okay, and then the unit mix, as you can see, So the 2 bedrooms, we have about almost already slightly more than half, right? And then the remaining will be the 3 and 4. So in my opinion, coming to the parking lots, I think they are mainly to cater to this, all right, to this group of people. So the first thing that we already touched on, no MRT and concern. So I'm sure you have seen projects. If you are speaking to my fellow colleagues in the industry, some of them will probably be telling you, hey, it's okay, man, no MRT, we have shuttle bus, right? And then the most classic one that I've ever heard of is when I brought my friend told me basically, the agent basically told them, hey, you prefer to walk to the MRT, like you sweat, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, or you think at the doorstep there's a bus that actually brings you to the MRT, and then where you can alight, and that's where the MRT is just so-called right at your doorstep. You don't really need to walk more than 5 or even 20, right? Can you believe that? Okay, so from a different perspective, the agent is not wrong. Why? Because you really don't have to walk that much. Okay, but our videos always encompasses about value. To buy something, you must remember, it's always very, very easy. Okay, but the biggest challenge comes the day that you probably may need to sell. Okay, so will this be things that actually hinder your value, obstruct, or even actually brings your value down? So these are the little things that we really need to take into concern, which is why we've done studies. So as compared, this is one-off residence, which is here, and then this is the one-off MRT. The distance between this and this, I think it's probably about 10 minutes. Walkable, yes, but under a very sunny and very hot day, you may get sweaty, okay? So then we have, this is us, Hudson Place. We do not know at this point in time whether there's any shuttle bus or not at the time of this video. But what I want you to understand is actually the difference between these two is, this is going to be TOP in 2029, and this one-off residence is 2009, as seen from here. Okay, so it's about 20-year gap. So will there be any difference? So definitely everybody will prefer the ones that is nearer to the MRT. No question about that. But I'm sure by now, having seen a lot of our videos, you should know that when it's near the MRT, you should even be more careful. Why? Because the prices may not be to your advantage. And then we brought in a similar case study that is actually the Principal Garden and the Tanglin Regency. Likewise, Tanglin Regency is newer, so is one-off residence. The walk to MRT is still about 8 minutes versus us is about 10 minutes, so about 2 minutes, so plus minus. And then over here from Principal Garden to the MRT, it takes you about 18 minutes. So it's about a good 10 minutes difference. So for this case study, we want to understand, like we already established the fact that from earlier, the 3 and the 4 bedrooms, the bigger units over here, actually mainly we cater to the own stay, only a handful of investors, right? It's only the 2 bedders for all of you. I have some of my friends, hopefully you are still with me, that are actually looking at this video, watching this video. Your concern is 2 bedrooms, right? So we will run through this. Okay, the 2 bedrooms, Tanglin Regency, we look at the rental over here versus Principal Garden. Okay, for the past 1 year, the Tanglin Regency rental is about 4,070, okay, which is about 4,000-ish, as high as 4,500, right, for the 2 bedrooms. So like similarly, the 2 bedrooms for Principal Garden from 3,004, but we have a high of 6,000, okay, and the average is about 4,750. Newer, probably you'll be thinking, but the distance from MRT is still definitely the lose out. Yes, we are in full agreement on that. But what we really want to touch on is, and like always, in today's context, especially with the market changing, evolving, right? A lot of sellers, including developers, they are also aware of all this. So everybody is trying to, in a way, I would say, outsmart each other. And the take is, can we just be buying any property just based on one factor and only one factor alone, right? In this case, MRT alone. Without MRT is a fact. So the thing that we really need to be looking at is what will the price be? And then after, we are new, okay? Because the nearest one, other than Bloomsbury, will be one-off. It will be about almost a 20-year-old gap between us and them. So then, of course, we move to the Principal Garden. Sorry, it's only a 3-bedroom, 2 bedrooms. The growth, actually from here, right, you can see the newer one, okay, we talk about from the same time, 2014 to about today, this is about 32%. Whereas the new one definitely has a higher growth. The 2 and 3 bedrooms, yes, right? So almost a 40% difference between the two. So basically from here, right, to touch on the first point, you are right to be concerned about the MRT, right? But what we always feel is we need to see end day, what is the price, right? And then how do we actually go in to make our unit more attractive, to faster get in the tenant. Okay, and then of course today, later towards the end of the video, we will be touching on what is the price that the developers are pricing it. The next thing is we have the balance units, right? So Bloomsbury. So as you can see, what is the balance stock? Okay, because another questions that we got is everybody is selling already. Bloomsbury still have balance units. Does this mean Bloomsbury is no good, or is this location not the best? So we want to touch on this. We really want you to understand how things are actually down. We really want to let you understand how things are in reality, okay? So I can see the units available. The 2 bedrooms, they are only left with 8 units. The 2 plus study difference, there's only a handful. So the bulk of the units actually come from where? The 4 bedroom, which has 27 units, balance, still unsold. So we basically can, and then of course the penthouses, right? We can almost conclude in a way, right? The 2 and the 3 bedrooms are okay. They are still widely acceptable. And then it's the 4 bedrooms, the bigger bedroom types that has a challenge. So what we want to establish here, is this a norm? Or is this just strictly for the One North area? So we went to Tembusu Grand, which is the Far East Katong. So Katong is a place that has a lot of its own stay area, very posh area, atas, D15, wow, nothing. So as you can see, right, until 2025, we are still seeing the 5 bedrooms, the bigger units, then they are selling out. Why? It's the same thing because usually people buy this for own stay. So as much as possible, they prefer not to shift 2 times because it's going to be a hassle, especially if you have a big family. And with the big family, you have a lot of big items, many things to shift. So, and yet if there's a high preference for the bigger unit types, so they will probably be looking at minimal adjustments. To shift once is definitely better than going for twice, okay? So that's why with that, it's always the bigger bedroom types that are selling last one. Okay, then we move to Clairvon. Same thing. I think the TOP for this development is around 2023 to 2024, thereabout. But if you look at it, the tail end is actually started selling in 2020, if I'm not wrong. But the tail end TOP is all the 5 bedrooms that are being sold. Okay, so food for thought, probably I wouldn't say it's a hint, but if you're looking at buying a 4 bedroom at Hudson, you'll likely be holding it empty for a few years before the resale market starts to absorb the price, because the holding cost will erode the profit, right? But of course, if you are looking at this place for own stay, you love the whole environment over there, then I'm certainly very confident that you will like this place. It is really a very different place, very quiet. Okay, then probably another thing that we really want to be touching on is a lot of people are saying, hey, because you have received a lot of agents texting you, people calling you, or even yourself, you're aware, Hudson Place, no, we have a lot of advantage because the land bid price is cheaper. We have an upcoming land bid price that is a lot more expensive. That means we will be in for a good deal. Is this the truth? Okay? So cheaper GLS equals to sure make money. We really want to let you, again, highlighting one of the objectives of our video has always been not to point you in the direction of profits, but to point you to be very careful, to give you more certainty, especially in your real estate journey, to help you understand where certain pitfalls might be lying around. So you see, yeah, they are not wrong, okay? Dover, you see the land bid price is 1,556. So this is just nearby. And where are they exactly? So this is the Dover GLS, 1,500. Bloomsbury is at 1,100. Today, Hudson Place, we are cheaper than Blooms. So with this, does this really make Hudson Place, wow, sure buy, good buy, must buy? Right? We always get that. Truth be told, until you really see the deal on hand, then we will be able to actually tell you, how risky is this? Should we even be looking at that or not? All right. So what we really want to touch on is land bid price is not equals to sales price. We bring to you similar another case study. We have Affinity at Serangoon, and then we have Shunfu, which is a Jetscape. So the land bid price for Jetscape is at 791 back then. The launch price was at 1,007, and Affinity at Serangoon is 835, launching about 1,006, 1,005, 1,006 plus. Okay. So land bid cheap doesn't mean I need to sell you cheap. Please get that into your thinking, your thoughts, especially when you're working on planning something. All right. So another thing that we really want to touch on is after this, right? Then, since you say until like that, then can buy or not. But there's always 2 sides to a coin. We must understand. So because all these 3 developments they are all under one developer, which is Qingjian. So in this case, everybody in the market is talking about buying for profits and everything. But what we really always want to focus on is more like, what is the defensive strategy? Is there even protection for us because buying is, again, buying is very easy. It's always about what's next. What if somebody buys more expensive than you, but they can decide to sell cheaper than you? Is this something that can happen? And if this were to happen, then we will be in for, I don't know what to say. So, but with the same developer, no, this is not the first time we have seen this, especially with strong developers, you'll be very good. A very similar example will be in the Lentor area. So we first started with Lentor Modern, right? So the Lambie, and then we have Lentor Hills, and then we have Lentoria, then we have Lentor Mansion, okay, then we have Huat, sorry. All this total, there's 8 plots, already 6 already launched. So, but I want to bring your attention to the 6th plot, okay, Lentor Central. So, of course, Huat and Lentor Gardens are not by Guaco and Hong Leong. So over here is actually very much, I would say, dominated by Guaco Land and of course Hong Leong and then Hong Leong TID, right? So on this 6th plot, right, on the bidding part, the first one, of course, we have Guaco Land. Okay, they bidded at 982. And then the second in position was Fraser at 927. So if you can go and track back, sometimes if you really study how developers actually bid for the lands, it's very, very interesting. And you will really see a lot of things like the interest and what is the thinking behind. So for Lentor Central, I guess they wanted this. They wanted to protect the market, right? They want to monopolize. So what we are going to touch on today is over here in this particular slide, is monopoly, all right? Yes. So with this, okay, they can ensure that everything else in the whole of these previous buyers and everything is protected. So this is one thing that we always touch on with our clients is always buy, if you're looking at buying new ones, right, as much as possible. No, buy somebody who actually has the powers to actually protect your interest, your price basically, right? I'm not saying that the rest cannot, but then with a opposing developer coming in, right, or let's say if the market turns the other way, they may actually do a certain discount, to create some momentums and to push up the sales. Developer behaviors are also really part of our plans, and you have seen our previous videos how they price certain things. The strategies have actually changed a lot. So all this about the fundamental doesn't go away. How much they buy will actually factor in how much is the interest. That's one thing. But when they sell, it can also determine can also means the market may mean a certain thing. So that's why on the 8th plot, this is the last one. So this guy was by Kingswood. They bidded this Lentor Gardens, so-called LG7, which is going to be launched, I think, 2nd quarter, 3rd quarter, I think in July thereabout, right? So with this, Hong Leong came back aggressively for the 8th plot. You can see the land bid, was at 1,278. Okay, sorry, let me write me right. It's at 1,278 PSF. And the second bid by Fraser was at 1,200, which is about at least a good 5%, $70 PSF higher. Okay, so with this, we just want to share with you, Qingjian may be doing you a favor, especially if you're looking at Hudson Place. They may not sell you cheap, right, depending on how is the strategy, depending on what is their focus, but a very certainty is your price will be protected. They will definitely will not be selling a lot more cheaper than you. But do not bank on this for high profits. That is really what we really want to tell you. Okay, and the last thing for today, before the floor plans, is the sweet spot, right? I think we have seen previously like that actually developers today, they are doing very, very differently and behaving very, very differently from yesteryears. So a lot of things that have actually changed, okay? But let us actually touch on the norm first. So what it has been for resale, we bring to you Normanton Park. So usually the 1 bedrooms actually is the higher PSF. Okay, so the price is actually higher, right, and everything. Okay, usually by the default. Okay, but then what about new ones? So as you can see, this is a development in the Serangoon area. So this is actually a 3 bedroom. It is about 2,580. So this should be lower. And then the 2 bedrooms over here in the red, 2006, 2005, 2006, 2005. So they should be slightly higher. And then the 4 bedrooms usually will be lower PSF. Slightly lower depending on how they price it. Everything has the same view, same floor, same date of sales. In terms of PSS, always is the smaller bedroom, the higher PSF. Small bedroom, higher PSF. This is the norm until sometime last year. So we have Penrith, okay, District 3, the strategies changed. Smaller one, 2007. Slightly bigger, 2008. And the biggest one, 2008. And this is an ongoing trend. I think for Tengah Gardens, we are also seeing the same. So that's why with this new pricings, is there any advantage for us to take? So you can see from here, right? This is is another development for Bloomsbury, Media Circle also. So you can see that the 3 bedrooms, the PSF is about 2.5 to 2.6. Over here, the 2 bedrooms, we are seeing 2.6 to 2.7 PSF. So this is still the old strategy. 2 bedrooms that Bloomsbury are getting in is about 2006, 2007. But over here, right, you can see from the premium at the 2 bedrooms, they are doing at 2002-ish. Okay, so that's why the loading, if you really understand this, I think from our previous videos, the loading is really at the back. And to be honest, not every unit, they may not price every unit in this range. Maybe to some 2004, it can go up to 2005, 2006. But as long as we are buying cheaper than this, it's okay. But our focus is always for here. If you're looking at some place, I think the smaller bedroom types, the 2 bedrooms is something that you may or not consider, but just have to be very, very careful to avoid certain blind spots, put it this way. All right, so that is all for the analysis. So quickly moving into the floor plans, we only have 2 bedrooms. To be honest, the 2 bedrooms, what I personally feel, okay, the space is decent, the layout is okay, nothing to hiam, right? Except I think you may feel that there's no windows in the kitchen, no windows in the bathroom, thereabout, right? But this is an ongoing, very, very common thing really. I think Villa Bay, 90% sell out. I think the 2 bedrooms and the 3 bedrooms, I mean the smaller ones, they also very similar layout type, right? Not in terms of the layout, but they don't have windows in the kitchen and the bathroom, if I don't remember wrongly. But still, everybody just grab. So this is a mirror image, different facing. No, at the end of the day, it boils down to the prices. You want to face inside, probably you have to pay a little bit more. You want to pay. So if there's a high disparity between the two, right, about 100 over each thousand, then you know where we will recommend. Something interesting next. So this is the 2+ study, 689 square feet versus the 646, about 43 square feet difference. So between these two 3+ study, 689, right, I think this is something that I will go for, especially the developers are loading very little on the 2 bedrooms. And rather than this. Okay, why do I say that? Because you see, this one they say that, okay, because the study area here is a standalone. That means you can hack away some of the walls and everything, or it can make it into a bigger bedroom. But I just feel that my personal take is for the bedroom, then I have to go to the bathroom, then I have to go to the study. Every time I want to go, I have to cut. It feels a bit quite quiet. That's just me, all right? So over here, right, this is flexible. They just actually cover a space for you that you can use freely. So actually, if you don't need it, it enlarges the whole living room. So I think it's very big. So down the road, resale, you will see a difference. If you still need a study place, I think you can just put a table over there. I think everything should be okay. So this is my thought. Unless if you are a couple, you prefer to have a room, to not disturb. Maybe your partner is watching TV outside, you want to be in the room. Then of course, this kind of 2+ study is something that you can consider. Okay, so remember, different preference. I mean, whatever you like is based on this. Okay, but most importantly is for us, it's still always on the price. Okay, 3 bedrooms, simple. I mean, whatever that we don't have the windows in the bathroom, kitchen, everything we have already. So the difference between this 893, I think this is a very wonderful layout. Okay, you have kitchen is enclosed. I mean, the blue color arrows are wind ventilation. Just that you don't really have a yard. Small families, I think no problem, right? Even if you're a couple, you want to stay here, you want to stay nearer to town, you are okay if not near the MRT, then this is for investments. I think I recently just sold a Sterling residence. I think a very good price. I think my client bought it at a resale. Then I think they made it about 300,000 to 400,000. Okay, so it's widely accepted already. And then of course we have this, the 1012. This is one of the better, more, I think, functional layout, especially for families. So we have the yard, we have the home shelter, and we have the difference, the dry kitchen. So it's what the upgraders would prefer. Let's say if you are okay with driving and everything. Then we have for the 1023 3-bedroom premium. I think it's because of the longer walkway, everything else basically the same. Sorry, this is a 3-bedroom bus study, this type C4. The difference is about the study. You have a standalone study. I personally would like, something that the study is very important for me. It's like a work office. But if you don't need it, then you have to see whether the price, does it matter? The difference, does it really matter? And I think this will be the show unit layout. You can come down and take a look. Okay, so these are the 3 bedrooms. And then the 4 bedrooms, they start from 152, okay, decent, nothing to complain about. Functional, I would say. Mirror images, okay? Then we have the 4-bedroom suite plus flexi. So the difference is the walk-in wardrobe, slightly bigger here. 4 bedrooms, we just actually breeze through is because we think there will be the more demand, the interest really will be on the 2 bedrooms. I think most of you are looking at this. right? Can buy, cannot buy, no, should I be buying, what are things that I should consider? Okay, of course, there are the penthouses that we very handful, I think only 6 of them. So we didn't pull out a floor plan. Okay, if you really need to discuss that floor plans, no, you can DM us. We will be more than willing to touch base with you. So in summary, no MRT, I think we can consider, but still we need to see the price. Number 2, Bloomsbury, okay, it's not that the location is no good. It's just that actually there's a lot of questions. So think through, if there is the MRT there today, right, will they be selling you at this price? So there's another reason for you to think through. Do not believe, okay? Do your own homework, especially when agents are telling you, hey, nearby there's another next plot that will be a lot more expensive. I'm sure you'll be in for a win, sure make money one. End day, you still need to be very mindful and wary of the price that you're buying into. If it's have a price in mind, what is the walkaway price that you think you need to be very mindful about? And last but not least, we personally feel because of the developers' pricing strategies, the 2 bedrooms, if they're priced correctly, I think they will sell. And with all that, quickly, this is Terence, your property bro, right? Then you can find me on WhatsApp. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram recently. Okay, thank you again. Just to touch this, a lot of us, thank you for all the shout outs, for encouragement for all the videos. I mean, for my videos. Okay, so I just want to end with this statement. Whatever you do, whether it's own stay or whether it's this something for investment, I always feel that it's more than just a roof over your head. Okay, so I'll see you in my next video. Have a good viewing at Hudson Place. Thank you, and this is Terence.